Hey guys, I'm excited to make this video because I love sharing my testimony, but I love the concept of what a difference that can make in the world. And I love that the world is this big place and the airwaves are open, and it's nice to just stand from a mountain and scream the truth. And I love that, and I love the difference that a testimony can make in someone's life. I love how it can change people's lives. And it also helps us to remember where we came from, like the things we've been through, and trying to get this phone to stay in the right place here. Yeah, so I just love that. Helps kind of remind us of our roots. But I want to share my testimony with you guys right now. I've shared my testimony before in videos, and some of it, I've shared some of it at church, or a good portion of it at church. But I want to make this video to you, and I want to kind of let you know that if you're watching this, the point of this video is for people who don't know me, because I want my life to be like the biggest speaker of my testimony, although it is necessary to share your testimony audibly and verbally. Sometimes the life that you live is the best testimony, and I love that. But because I don't know you, and you don't know me most likely, and you don't see me, you don't know me that well, so I'm making this video to share my testimony with the world. So this is my testimony of how I found the church, how I got to where I am today, which is in a very wonderful, amazing place that I am so thankful to be in. I am so thankful for so many different things in my life that I enjoy every day. Blessings, friendships, promises from God, just things that I know are true and things that support me. There's so many things to go into about what I'm enjoying every day. And it's because of choices I made to join the church, the true church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I don't want to argue or have any kind of controversy or anything like that. I just kind of want to state what I experienced, what happened, and I'll share my feelings about that, my thoughts as well. But I grew up in a Christian household. I grew up, now when I say Christian, I mean Protestant Christian. We went to Wesleyan churches, we went to Baptist churches, and when I say we, I mean me and other people in my family. So my mom's side was Wesleyan, my dad's side was more so Baptist for the most part. My dad was kind of just in the middle, I guess, or just kind of floated around. But and then as I got older, when I was a preteen, basically I started going to my dad's church at the time, which was a non-denominational church. And I've had a lot of really good experiences at these churches. There's been a lot of really good things that I can take away from those churches that were great experiences. Really kind people, caring people, thoughtful people, supportive people, protective people, people who are your friend, people who are your best friend, people like that. Just feeling the Spirit of the Lord in these churches, feeling like this is right, we're in the right place, we're doing the right thing, this is what we're supposed to do. I'm so glad this is what we're doing. I'm so glad. And so those were my feelings. And when we were growing up, of course, there's the times where you don't want to go to church, and you kind of get dragged along by your parents anyway, and you're just I don't want to go, and this is a whole hour, I gotta be good, this is such an exercise, it's a difficult one, etc., etc. The kids struggle, right? And when I got older and I met my future wife, we moved away, and we moved out west to Reno, and from the East Coast, and lived there. And we never found a church to go to once we got out there. We went to church maybe once or twice to kind of try to find one, and we just didn't stick to it. We just didn't, unfortunately, it wasn't important enough to us to figure out. So we just didn't figure it out. We just didn't go to church. And my girlfriend / wife was, she was a Christian. She was raised Christian as well. But we didn't go to church. And so, because we didn't go to church, things went certain ways in our lives. Like, we just didn't have as much of God in our lives. Like our morals were still important to us. We still had morals, what we believed was right. We didn't go around cussing like sailors. We didn't do drugs. We didn't do, we didn't do horrible things. We weren't anti-God or anything like that. We just didn't go to church. And eventually when our relationship didn't work and it ended, I kind of started falling away from God and started kind of going through a phase of rebellion and stuff like that. Becoming atheist, becoming anti-God, becoming agnostic, whatever, all those different things. Trying drugs, doing this, doing that. Living a lifestyle that was contrary to what I had previously believed was true or was right, and also, living a life that I knew deep down was not right. I really shouldn't be doing it, but I was dumping a lot of things on top of those feelings to numb myself from feeling those feelings. In other words, I was doing things to make myself, I was trying to push the voice of God out of my life. And eventually I moved home. I moved home back to Maryland and started getting into like crystals and metaphysical things and the universe and vibrations and frequencies and thinking about things and New Age, all kinds of things like that. And really kind of revamping what I believed in. And this took me a lot of different places. And I had this was a mix of forsaking God or still forsaking God / thinking, well, God is just the universe. And, my thought about this before is actually different. And this is all just different now, et cetera, et cetera. And long story short, I went through some really rough relationships, serious relationships where I moved to the other side of the state with my significant other and their children, and things did not work out. And then I got with another one and ended up marrying her, and things were just terrible. She was a recovering alcoholic, and it was just not a good idea. It was never meant to be. It was never a good idea to be involved with one another. But I decided that I just wanted to do it anyway, and I was just gonna make it happen. I was just wanted to do it, And that led to some really, really hard, dark times. And in those hard, dark times, I really started feeling alone, scared, and lonely, looking around going, what the heck have I done? How did I get myself to this place? Why? And I kept thinking, like, things are getting worse, but they can't get that much worse. And then they would get that much worse. And I'd be like, oh man, they're not getting better, they're getting worse. And they would continue to get worse, like as a trend, like over the course of weeks, months. And it got to the point where it was unignorable. I could not deny it anymore. Things were getting worse and worse and worse. And like, how low can you go? How low does the floor go? And then when you get to the floor sinks and you go even lower. And that was what was happening again and again and again. And I was just feeling like, this is horrible. What am I going to do? I kind of ran out of options. And I ran out of options because I was so determined to make it work. This is just going to work, That's just what it is. This is just going to work. And that wasn't what it was. And that wasn't what was going to happen. It wasn't going to work. But I was so stubborn. And I wanted it to work. And sorry if I get a little distracted here, you guys. I'm about to stop for gas. And unfortunately, I don't have the editing skills to stop a video and pick up back where I was before and edit and splice videos together, blah, blah, blah. So I don't think this is that big of a deal. I think this is pretty basic stuff right here. So don't mind me while I get some gas. Everything's going to be totally fine. But yeah, so I got to a really, really dark, low place in my life. Things were pretty, like I said, pretty bad. And I was scared, and things were really, I mean, when I say things were bad, things were really bad. Like, my wife at the time, she would, like, go on these, like, rages, basically, where she would go on she's basically a terrorist. She was terrorizing me, terrorizing my life, and I was partially at fault because this was a life that I had chosen. And there was a lot of things that kind of said, you shouldn't do this. This is a bad idea. But I decided not to listen to those voices. I decided to just keep going. And that just made things worse. And I really had to wake up and smell the roses eventually. And I got to the point where things were so horrible, I was just left going, what the heck am I doing? I've got to do something, you know? And I've got to change things. And so I prayed to God and was just like, you know, please help me get out of this situation. And I was also conflicted and at odds with God because I felt like I had been ignoring him for so long that he didn't want anything to do with me. It didn't matter what I was going through because I had already turned my back on him. In other words, I was believing all the lies of the devil. Because the devil always tells you that you don't matter and that nothing you ever do will be good enough and that you've failed and you have sinned and God will never love you. God will never forgive you. You are unlovable. You are unforgivable. Those are the kinds of things that the devil tells us. And that's what I was being told and that's what I was believing. And there were literally demons. I mean, demons are pretty not that uncommon, honestly, in life for you to experience demons, I'd say, from time to time. And different situations, demonic activity at worst when you're in really bad places and stuff. But I was going to say there were demons in our house. There were definitely demons in our house. There was demons in my wife, and just horrible things going on, like just being haunted, scared, tortured, basically. Like I said, she would go on these crazy kicks where she'd throw stuff out. She would throw stuff out the windows, like in the middle of the night. Sorry guys, we're getting back here to more secure filming. She'd throw stuff out. She'd throw my stuff out the windows in the middle of the night. My air conditioner's funky, so I gotta beat it with this metal bottle. You see, it's all dented up because I've used it so much. Sorry, Patrick. Sorry, bro. But that's the only way to get my air conditioner going. There it goes. Yes. And it doesn't always go that well, so when it does go this well, I'm like, yes. Yeah, so thanks for bearing with me, you guys. I appreciate it very, very much. This is worth it. This is very worth it. Yeah, so, like, I say, like, the easiest way to say it was, like, my wife is crazy. My wife at the time was crazy. And it was more so just, like, this was not the right situation to be in. I had gotten myself into a pickle, as they say. However, this pickle was not just a pickle. This was the biggest pickle I had ever been in, and it was bigger than any pickle I'd ever been in. It was, you know, bad in so many ways, and it was just like, Justin, you got yourself in this mess, and if you don't get yourself out of this mess, it's not going to get any better. And it got to the point where I felt like I had a cup. Like if my life was this substance, this sacred, precious substance in a cup, that you try never to spill any of it because it's your life. It's precious. It's sacred. I felt like I was effectively dumping it out. And that's how I felt. I felt like I was wasting my life. I was effectively wasting my life because of the decisions I had made, where I was, and my refusal to get out of where I was, my refusal to change, my refusal to change directions. And so this was horrible. I mean, it was horrible. I mean, I was smoking cigarettes. I was just like, I was in the middle of the night, music blaring, wife is drunk, noise going on, all kinds of crazy, weird, demonic energy in the house, and just no sense, just illogical behavior all the time. And I would be in the bathroom, her bathroom, our bathroom, and have the window open and be smoking out the window, just thinking like, please get me out of this. What the heck is this? How did I get here? Oh man, what am I doing? I gotta get out of here. What am I doing? Please help me. How do I get out of here? And in the midst of all this, my car got repossessed. It was a nightmare. That life at that time was a living nightmare. It was a living nightmare. I woke up to the worst nightmare. They were taking my car away. And I'm going, oh my gosh. And my wife, was she sympathetic? Was she like, babe, oh my gosh, what the heck are we going to do? I'm so sorry. No. She was just like, that's what you get, you freaking failure. You know? Like, that's what you get. She was basically vindictive and harsh and abrasive and all those horrible things. So I was at a breaking point. I was just like, dude, what the heck? This is insane. I got to get out of here. I can't do this anymore. And I'm married now. I'm married to her. The situation has just gone from bad to worse. And I was like a 2.5 solid, uneasy 2.5 hour drive from home and from everyone else I knew on the other side of the state, on the other side of the bay, a solid 2.5 hour drive away with no car. And just the horrible living situation, abuse from her. She was physically abusive, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually abusive and manipulative, accusatory. The accusations that I just had to deal with on a daily basis were insane. And so I finally broke down and I got to this point where I was like, God. And again, I had such a, I was like, what the heck? What can I do? I can't talk to God. I don't even believe in God, do I? Or I can't talk to him. He's not even going to help me because he knows what I've been doing is wrong, and I know what I've been doing is wrong, but I've done it and I've decided to do it again and again and again and again. So why would he give me the time of day? Why would he help me? Why? Doesn't make any sense for him to help me. I did this to myself. I deserve this. These were all the things I was thinking. And so the best thing that I could come up with, the best thing I could do was I made a deal with him, and I kind of just jokingly said, because I knew better, but this is just where I was just like, God, I know, I'm doing this, I know, and this is crazy, and I know I shouldn't be doing this, I know, but I do know that if I read the Bible, if I read your word, I know you will lead me out of this. And I had been given Bibles. I got a Bible for like my 16th birthday. I got a Bible for my 18th birthday, or like when I graduated. And these were nice Bibles, and they just always existed, and I always had them, and I always had them with me. I took them to Reno. I took them back to Maryland. I took them here, there, everywhere, all across the square, back and forth, through all the moves. I had these Bibles with me, my Bibles that were given to me, my Bibles. And I never read them. I never, they just existed, they just existed. And I knew deep down, I was like, well, one day I need to read the Bible. And it's like, I knew deep down that this is what I needed to do. I always knew I needed to do this. But I just didn't. And I was like, well, Justin, you think you finally want to do that now, after everything's going the way it's going? You think you finally are ready to, like, kind of try that? And I was like, yeah. I'm pretty ready to try that now because, this is... I can endure a lot, but this is insane, and it ain't getting any better. So I started reading the Bible, and I started in Revelation, and I was like, I'm going to read the Bible, but I'm going to start in Revelation. I'm going to do this on my terms, And I read it in Revelation, I kept reading, and then I started in Genesis, and I started reading. And things started getting, it was like more, so what happened was more peace started being present in my life, in the house, in our lives. And, that was the first thing, more peace. You're like, wow, I notice more peace. I feel calmer. I feel more calm. I feel like things might actually be okay. And things got better. Things started getting better. And, they got better, then they got worse. And they got better, then they got really worse. And I'll spare you the detail, a lot of the drama. But basically, my wife was accusing me of mocking her. I would be sitting next to her in bed, and I'd be reading my Bible, and she would get so angry at me for reading the Bible. which is indicative to me that there's something foul at play. And she's like, you're mocking me. You're doing this just to mock me. I'm a Christian woman, and you're doing this to mock me. And I was like, I'm not mocking you. I'm just literally trying to read the Bible. I'm just trying to read the Bible. I'm just trying to do what I'm supposed to do, you know? But I couldn't do that. It was just not working. I couldn't even do that, you know? And so I basically was getting pushed out of there. And eventually I finally broke down. And I mean, this was like, some crazy stuff happened, and she was all of a sudden pregnant. I was away at work, and then all of a sudden now she's pregnant. And oh my gosh, what the heck? I thought this marriage was toast. I thought this relationship was trash. I thought it was all toast. It was all going on the flusher. And now, suddenly, that's not the case. And we're having a baby? What? We're having a baby? And then, so at that point, when that happened, it was like, well, I have to save this relationship, because I'm not giving up on that baby. That baby is everything. The baby is every reason that I need to do what I think is right, and to stick by this lady, my wife, and give everything I have, everything, to make sure that this goes well, and to raise this baby, to see this through, actually, and oh my gosh, okay, I guess this marriage is going to work now, you know. And so we had some highs like that. And then every time I'd come home, it would just be something going on. And it would be like, it was just getting kind of confusing, kind of fishy. And she would go from happy to being spazzed out of control, crazy again, and also drinking. And she's pregnant, and she's drinking wine. And I'm like, what are you doing? I was like, stop drinking, stop. Put the bottle down. Give me the bottle. And you're pregnant. What are you doing? Stop drinking. What's wrong with you? You know? And it was like, it wasn't working. It didn't matter. She wasn't going to stop. And her teenage son lived with us at the time. And he comes out. We're yelling at each other in the middle of the night, because I'm trying to keep her from killing our baby, you know? Or hurting our baby. And the son comes out and he starts yelling at us. And it's just like, you guys need to chill out, you know? He's the voice of reason in all this. And it's like, this was just insane, just beyond insane. And all this stuff happened, and I tried taking her to these doctor's appointments, and this was around COVID time. This was virtual appointments and stuff, and just craziness. And it started coming out she didn't want to go to these appointments, and she was acting very uninterested and very distant, and very it was like there's something going on that she wasn't telling me, and she didn't want to tell me. And then she basically comes out and says, I think I had a miscarriage, or I might have had a miscarriage, or I don't know if I had a miscarriage, or I don't know if I was ever pregnant, or I don't know. All this, so basically all this just went away, and it was just like, wait a minute, was she ever pregnant? I don't even know. Did she even have a baby? I don't even know. Did she have a miscarriage? I don't know. I have no idea. But it also kind of coalesced with an overall feeling that I felt, which was, this is bad. You shouldn't be here. You need to get out of here. Please, Justin, just get out of here. Don't look back. Just get out of here. You just have, whatever you do, just get out of here. Get out of here and don't come back. You just have to get out. Just get out. You know? And that's where I was, and that's what I did. And I that was hard, but I left. And it was like kicking and screaming, and I had to go back to get my belongings, and it was just crazy. But I had started going to church. I started going to church again. Like I said, there was more peace in my life. Things were better. So, and if I didn't have, more of God's presence in my life, if I didn't have God's peace in my life, I wouldn't have been able to deal with those things that were going on. There's just no way I would have been able to handle that stuff. No way. But because I had His peace, I was able to get through this stuff. It was able to happen. I was able to endure it and get through it, which was unfathomable. You're going to be a dad, and then telling people I'm going to be a dad, and then all of a sudden everything is just gone like that, just crazy, and you don't know what to believe. You don't know what's true. And so just crazy, but I got away from that. I moved back home. I was living with my dad. I was going to church. His pastor was very supportive. This was a Baptist church. Pastor was very supportive, and I was just struggling. I was emotionally done. He had met my wife, the pastor had met my wife because we visited and came to church together once. And he just knew something was going on. and I just didn't want to talk about it, but I was struggling. And he just stayed. He stayed with me after I was there. And he said, "What's going on, Justin? You can talk to me." And I just talked to him, and I just told him what I was going through. And it was so hard. But he was there. And the fact that he was there and the way that he showed the love of Christ to me by being there for me changed my life. It literally changed my life. I'll never forget that. I will never hold that against. It doesn't matter if I don't believe what Baptists believe or I don't believe what Protestants believe. It doesn't matter. That man was there for me, and he was an example of Jesus Christ. And I've experienced that so much more from other people since then. And luckily not under such harsh circumstances. But that's what I was going through. So I went to that church for a while. I was faithful. I was living with my dad. And they were going to that church, and I was like, this is my thing, guys. Like, I don't know if you know, but like, this is all I care about. God, that's all I care about, because that's all I need. I gotta get right. I have been in the gutter, and I've got to get out and away from the gutter, because I ain't living there anymore. I don't want to ever go back. I don't ever want to go back to where I was. So I am determined to never turn around. I am determined never to turn around, ever. Ever, no matter what. Gun to my head. I don't care. Not happening. I'm not going back. And that was a choice that I made. And so I just kept going. I kept learning. I was watching and listening to worship songs, singing worship songs, listening to worship songs, listening to sermons, listening to videos about prophecy, all kinds of interesting YouTube things about Christianity, and anything and everything that I felt God was trying to show me. I was on it, like white on rice, just taking it in. I gotta bop this air conditioner again. Come on, buddy. Oh, there it goes a little bit. This poor car. It feels like I just kicked it. It's like, oh. But yeah, so I was growing, I was progressing. I started going to this church. I would say I was at this church for almost like a year. It seemed to be about a year, almost a year. Probably not quite a year, but almost a year. Through COVID times, through all kinds of situations, and I was going and I was learning. I was going to Bible Sunday morning, Wednesday night, anything and everything. If it was going on, I was going there. That's just what I was doing. And showing up for everything, engaging, and like, okay, this is what we're learning about. Okay, this is what we're learning about. We're in Jeremiah right now. We're reading Jeremiah. Okay, Jeremiah. We're in chapter 6. Okay, we're reading Jeremiah 6, chapter 6, verse 26. That's where we are right now. Jeremiah's going through this, blah blah blah. This sort of thing's happening. Like, that's where I was, and I was just like so determined. I'm like, dude, I am not changing. I'm not going back. And then I started feeling things change even more for me, and I felt myself growing. I felt myself changing. I felt myself coming closer to God. And there was so much I didn't know. There's so much I didn't understand. So much that wasn't quite making sense to me. It was like loading. But I was just like, I'm hungry. Feed me. I'm taking it. Give me more. I'm not stopping. Let's go. And everybody there at that church was older, basically. Like, the whole congregation was like senior citizens. And so there was a disconnect, because I was in my early 30s at the time, and just a few years ago, honestly. And so there began to be a disconnect where I was feeling like, I don't think I need to be here anymore. I think God has better plans, different plans for me, better plans for me. Like, there's a place I'd be better in. I feel like I need a change. So where's God leading me? Okay, I think I need to make a change. And I was very conservative. I was very like, I ain't changed nothing. I'm sticking to this, and this is what I'm doing. This is what's working. That's what I'm going to do. But when I started feeling like I needed to move on, I needed to make a change. I said, okay, God, I trust you. And I started having these moments where God was giving me these challenges and these encounters and these opportunities and chances to make these changes that I needed to make. And I was scared, and they took faith. Like, one of these was I quit my job with my dad, and that was so hard, because I was like, I love my dad. I have lived my whole life longing to be with my dad, growing up with my mom, divorced parents, never living with my dad, never getting to see my dad as much as I wanted. And here he is, and I'm finally living with him. And now I'm working with him every day. And it got to be this toxic situation that wasn't good for me. Obviously, toxicity is not good. And I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And I was like, God, please help me. What's going on? Please help me get out of this. Please help me find the way. Please help me change and get to a better place. And I was like, please, God, whatever it is, please tell me please, what is your will for me? And then he answered me, and he was like, let me know when you're ready. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, you gotta be kidding me. Let me know when you're ready. Like, what? Like, what? Like, but immediately I also knew I had this other sense about it that was like, he's saying this for a reason, and you better believe that when you ask him what he means, it's going to be a big thing that he wants you to do. And the reason he's saying, let me know when you're ready, is because it's going to take time, preparation. This is not going to be easy. This is going to be hard. And in that moment when he told me that, I said, you know what? I'm honestly so sick and tired of sitting and waiting around and going through this. I don't care what it takes. I am forcing myself to be ready now. I am ready. What is it, Lord? And he's like, go home. And I was like, go home? What? Like, I can't just go home. I'm at work, you know? And I already left work twice that week. One for physical health, one for spiritual health. And I'm just dealing with all of this spiritual sickness every day, just killing my soul. Like, I was drowning and dying in this sea of toxicity that was going on. And he's just like, go home. And I was like, okay, I understand what you mean. He didn't mean go home and come back tomorrow. He meant go home for good. He meant quit, stop, pull the plug, get out, eject, get out. Dislocate yourself, get out of here right now. Get out, get out, get out. Don't be afraid. And because he gave me that answer, because he told me to leave, I knew that it was all right, and I knew that it didn't matter what anyone else said. I was like, because nobody can top God. You kidding me? You think somebody else has a better idea than God does? You're wrong. Period. End of argument. No argument can begin. There is no argument. God's word is better than anyone's. So if God gave me permission, I knew it was okay. I didn't have to care about what anyone thought. And I had to basically break my dad's heart and tell him, like, I'm done, Dad. I can't do this anymore. I have to quit. And it didn't make sense to him. And it came out of left field. It didn't make sense. But I had to do it for my own well-being. And I did it. And I left. And I took my stuff with me. And I'll never forget going upstairs, and I had a drum set upstairs at that job that I had inherited that was being stored there. Going upstairs and bringing that drum set down piece by piece down them stairs by myself, loading it into my car by myself. And they're just kind of working and watching me, and they didn't quite understand. But I had to do it anyway. And I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I can't be here anymore. God has better plans for me, and I'm not going to sit around and wallow in despair and be where God doesn't want me to be, because that's not how I'm living my life. I'm not going to live my life somewhere else than where God wants me. That's what I decided. So I did it. I moved on. I quit. I got out of there. And around that time, I switched to this other church. That was a church where I had gone as a kid with my mom. It was my mom and grandparents' side. My mom's side of the family, it was like her church. And so I was a bit familiar, but it had been years. I had gone to vacation Bible school there. I had loved the pastor, Family Life Center, youth group, all kinds of stuff. Good stuff, good stuff. But still, growing up all those times through the crazy lives we had growing up with abusive stepdads, multiple failed marriages from my mom, multiple stepdads dying, one stepdad died, but just horrible things, and just this church was a safe haven. But it was never enough, It was like, this is great, but it's also not enough, was the feeling. But here I am feeling like I need to go to this church. It's a little bit younger, and I feel like it's a little bit more modern, and I feel like it's more so where I need to be. So I go there, talk to the pastor, I tell him, I'm like, hey, and this is a different pastor than what I knew. The one I knew was gone. He had moved. It's a new pastor, never met him, but apparently the guy was good. So I talked to him, and I'm telling him, I'm like, hey man, I'm Justin, it's nice to meet you. I know you don't know me, but I used to come here all the time. And basically, I don't even know how to say this, but I just feel like God wants me to be here. So here I am. I'm yours. Whatever you need, I'll do it. You know, if you need help with this, you need help with that, I'll do it. Whatever it is, I'll do it. And I was thinking, like, dang, here I am. I felt like it's going to sound funny, but I felt like a yoked servant. I felt like, I'm here, I can do this. I got muscle, I can do this. I can, whatever you want, Pastor, I'll do it. I'm on it. You want me to set this up? You want me to arrange Bible school? You want me to arrange Wednesday night meetings and conduct them? Like, whatever you need, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I promise. You want me to run some stuff online? I'll do it. Whatever, I'll do it. And I felt like I was so much potential. I had so much energy, and I could do anything he wanted me to do. And he's like, on Sunday morning, when we're singing our hymns, can you sit next to the projector and change the slides on the PowerPoint? And I was just like this church needed so much more, and that's what they decided to use me for. And I'm glad, because this wasn't meant to be anyway, and it would have been a waste. It would have been a waste if I had to do other stuff. So that's what I was doing, faithfully. And then I realized I need to be a part of this worship team. I need to sing. I have the gift of singing, and I want to use my gifts and talents for the Lord. I need to be using my gifts and talents for the Lord. I need to sing. So I talked to him about joining the worship crew, and the group. There's like 5 or 6 people who sang on Sundays, and it's a group. And he was basically like, whoa, buddy, you can't just come in off the street and demand to be in my crew, okay? That's basically what he was like. I was like so confused. I was like, and it wasn't like from a part of like, this wasn't from like pride that was like, well, who are you to tell me I can't be in this singing group? It wasn't even like that. It was like, wait a minute, this is what God wants me to do, and this is righteous. This is the right thing to do. This is a good thing to do. And I want to serve God. I'm not trying to take the limelight or anything. I just want to be a part of the group. I just want to be a part of the souls who want to sing for Christ. I want to sing about how God has changed my life. And I want to sing. I want to join the chorus of angels, basically. And he was like, nah, son, you can't just come in here. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? And I was like, I felt so confused by that. And then he's basically like, I'm Simon Cowell, pal. Simon Cowell. You come through me, buddy. You audition through me. And I was like, that's not what he said, but this is what he was kind of saying. And I was just like, dude, this is crazy. This isn't making sense. This is not making sense. And more of this started happening. And the straw that broke the camel's back was, he basically started bad-mouthing people to me in the same room. We're in the gym where everyone's rehearsing. And in his weird, convoluted way of trying to explain to me why I wasn't allowed to be on the worship team, he starts bad-mouthing everyone who's in the worship team, telling me about how they did this and they did that and they do this, or they're this kind of person or they're that person. Well, you might think he's a good person, but I'll tell you what, this guy actually does this, and this. And I was just so flabbergasted. I was like, this is destroying me on levels I can't even comprehend. This is so insane. I can't even comprehend how insane this is. Like, you're the pastor, and you're sitting here bad-mouthing the people in the church. Like, this does not make sense to me. This does not make sense. It was kind of traumatic, honestly, because I was just like, what? I couldn't comprehend it. And I realized this is not where I'm supposed to be either. And that was hard, because I was like, well, if this isn't where I'm supposed to be, then where the heck am I supposed to be? I have no idea. And this is scary, because now I'm like in the desert and I'm like wandering, like, where the heck am I supposed to go? I bought the air conditioner. And so, you know what I'm saying? I was just like, I don't get this. This is insane. Where am I supposed to go? And then, like, all along the way, I had been chatting with this guy who had a very familiar sounding name. And, like, his name was, like, the names I've heard before. But I never knew him. I didn't know who this guy was. We were messaging on Instagram. He's a real person. Not a made-up person, which is an improvement over spam and bots, right? Such an improvement. And he's telling me about his church he goes to. And he's very, very humble, very, very kind, very just like, this is where we go. And, yeah. And I was like, oh, that's super cool, man. Like, maybe one day I can come there. I'd like to come there sometime, check it out. And I remember being at home and talking to my mom and stepdad at the time about what had just happened with me and the pastor, and just being like, what the heck is going on? And they were speechless. They had nothing to say. I was like, this is not right. This is wrong. This is wrong. And in my family, if you have a problem with the pastor, the problem is with you. That's just typically how it goes. There is no, the pastor's wrong. Because pastors aren't wrong. Pastors are always right. And they're never wrong. Except for when they ban you from playing piano because you got a divorce, which is what happened to my mom. From one pastor. So, but anyway, long story short, yeah, pastors are imperfect, just like everyone else. Duh. And so, but they're speechless. They didn't know what to say. And I just remember looking out the window, looking down the road, and our window, when we look out the road, we can see into the country for a country mile. You can see down the road about almost a mile, and you see the road go down, curve around the trees until it fades out of sight. And I just remember looking down that road, looking down at the end where the road goes around the corner and goes out of sight, and thinking about this Good News Baptist Church my friend's been telling me about, and how it fit that perfect. It was like, here I am, Justin. This is where you need to go. I am here for you, says my Father in heaven. I am here for you, says Jesus Christ. You are not alone. It's going to be okay. You are loved. I am real. I do exist. You've just been through some really crazy things, but I exist and I'm real. And I was like, all right, let's go. I know where I'm going to church. And so I went to that church. And when I got there, it was the tiniest church of all time. It's like a little tiny room. But when that door opened and I walked in there with my friend, they were basically like arms wide open, smiling, saying, hello, welcome, we're so glad you're here. And it was a little bit overwhelming. And even, and just to explain this a little bit more, how personal this was, in the midst of all the overwhelm of being, because I'm like, hey guys, like, hi, it's nice to meet you, but I literally can't say hi to any single one of you because you're collectively addressing me, and this is like, I can't comprehend this right now. There's this really cute, sweet, beautiful, attractive, younger girl who's the only one there, and of her age, and she looks at me, and she like sympathizes with me. She looks right at me, looks right into my heart, right into my eyes, and basically says, like, and I might be hallucinating. I'm not hallucinating. But like, I may have imagined this a little bit, but because it sounds too good to be true, but I am telling you the truth. I know this happened, and I might not have exactly what she says verbatim, but she's basically like, she was just like, hi, hun, or like, hi, sweetie, or something like that, in a sympathetic way to say, I see what you're going through. This is overwhelm, and I am with you in this overwhelm, and I know what you're going through, and I understand it. And it was just like so warm and welcoming, and I was just like, my mind is blown, gone. So I started going to that church. For a while, and I started doing the same thing. Sundays, Wednesdays, we had a Bible study. I was like, okay, let's do this Bible study. We got curriculum. Okay, let's go. Got a binder with all the stuff we're reading. Okay, let's go. I'm in it. I'm learning, and I'm like with it. I'm like, yeah, okay, let's go. This is awesome. Okay, let's go. And I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, wait a minute. Why isn't everyone going? Why isn't everything going? What's going on? Why isn't? And then it just felt like everyone was kind of just stuck where they were, and it felt like this is just how it is. And it felt like, well, Justin, if you're going to come here, this is what you're going to get. This is what this is. This is what God and the Holy Spirit were telling me. They were like, this is what this is. This is what this is, Justin. This is just how it is. This is just what this is. And I was like, I'm not growing. I'm struggling. And I'm trying. I'm putting everything I have into this, and I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. And I don't feel like the pastor is really quite on the beat. And I don't think that the congregation is even, no one really knows better. And this is just what it is. And so it's like they mean well, but they're not there. And I was like, huh. And somewhere along the line, two pivotal things happened. and I can't remember which one happened first, but basically, I'll just say the order I believe it happened. The first thing that happened was I was at church, and the pastor's in a sermon, and he's going off, and I kind of reached the point where I was like, yeah, I don't really, this guy doesn't really know. I'm not trying to distrust my pastor, but like, I don't really think he knows what he's really talking about. I don't think he really knows. Like, I don't think he really knows. He's just trying, man. He's really trying. And he's just trying his best. And, you know, God bless him, but, you know, he's just not quite there, you know. So he's saying a lot of things I don't already kind of gel with or agree with, or like not really. I already know this guy's like he's not on it. He's not on the pulse, you know what I mean? He's not on the pulse of God, so to speak. And it was like, you know, okay. And he goes off in the sermon, he starts going, and we know about the Catholics, and we know about the Mormons, and we know about the Jehovah's Witnesses. And something about what he said rubbed me the wrong way. And this is before I talked to the missionaries. This is before I had any interest or direction in the Mormon Church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, at all. And something about what he said struck me. And the Holy Spirit said, and I said, and I was like, is that true? And the Holy Spirit was like, you know it's not true. And I was like, dog, that changes everything. Like, wait a minute. For some reason, this is what's going on here? What's going on here? Why is this happening? What the heck? Okay, so that's not true. So wait a minute. So if the Catholics aren't wrong, or if the Mormons aren't wrong, wait a minute. And it wasn't more so about like what they were doing was right or who had the right doctrine or whatever. It was more so, why is he attacking them? Why? And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Why is he attacking them? Like, this doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, you can believe they're going to hell or whatever, but don't attack them. Like, what? It just seems so, it was just like, you're beating an innocent person. The feeling I had was like, what did they do? Like, what did the Mormons do? What have they ever done to deserve this? I was having these feelings, and these thoughts, and I was just like, I never took time to think about this. I never studied about the Latter-day Saints or read about them or knew anything about them, really. Except a little bit about, like, Joseph Smith and stuff. Stuff that I had heard out west, when I immediately took it as, okay, well, you guys are deceived. You guys, I'm sorry, but you just don't know what you're talking about. That's where I checkered it. That's where I put the file. And, well, you guys are lost. You don't know what you're talking about. You're deceived. And it doesn't even matter. I don't even care enough to even bother even investigating this at all. That's where I was. But, so he stopped me in my tracks when he said that. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And shortly after that, I had been in this group on Facebook called Men of God. Broad group on Facebook. No denomination specific. I'm talking Catholics, Christians, Protestants, Lutherans, Methodists, Presbyterians, not Luciferians, but, Pentecostals, Charismatics, Mormons, Latter-day Saints. And I didn't know. I was just in this group because I'm trying to do everything God wants me to do. And this dude in the group sends me a message. I think he said something to me. I think we commented on a post or something, and he may have responded, or he liked my comment. I think it's what it was. Or he wrote, I think he commented on what I said and was just like, amen, or something, a thumbs up, or like, amen, way to go, brother, or something like that. And then he sends me a message, the messenger. And I'm like, Caden Johnson. I was like, who is Caden Johnson? Oh my gosh, I just realized something that's blown my mind, which I'm going to have to not even think about right now because I can't comprehend it and make this video. Think about that later. Wow. Anyway, what I'm thinking is the first missionary who ever talked to me has the same last name as my girlfriend. And of course, that's a very common last name, Johnson, but still. Very special to me. Very special. And so he's messaging me, and he's basically like, hey Justin, how's it going? And I was like, who even says that? Who even says, hey, how's it going? Like, this like blew my mind. Like, he was confusing me. He was just saying something so basic and normal and like appropriate and everything about it was just like so okay. It wasn't even funny. Yet it left me in a lurch going, what the heck is going on? And what was happening was the Spirit. I was experiencing the Spirit, like, through him. I could feel the Spirit through this missionary, through this message on Facebook Messenger. Simply through the words, hey Justin, how's it going? And I was just like, bro, I can't even comprehend life right now. What is life? What is even life? Honestly, what is even life? I was on the floor like going, what is life? What is life? What is life? That's how much I felt it. I was like, what the heck is going on? Literally. And that sounds insane, because why would I be freaking out about this person just saying, hey, how's it going? It's freaking out because it didn't make any sense. I was like, what the heck? Who is this guy? Why is he messaging me? And I get messages from people all the time, but I'm open to God and open to God moving and his voice and things happening. And so I keep my eyes open and my ear to the ground. And I'm constantly waiting and listening for God's voice and God's hand to move and things to happen. And I'm always curious if it's from God or not. I'm always looking. That's where I was. So I was like, what the heck is going on? Why is this affecting me so much? And I just wrote back and I said, I'm good. How are you? And he wrote back and said, I'm good, basically. And we got talking a little bit, and he said, what do you do for work? And I was like, oh man, I feel like for some reason I'm being questioned so hard. I feel like someone has finally showed up in front of me, is standing in front of me, is looking at me in the eyes, and is saying, hey, I'm talking to you. And they were also saying, hey, I mean absolutely no harm. There's no harm to be found in what I'm saying or what I'm doing. None. Because it doesn't exist. Because I'm not coming from a harmful place at all. This is not harmful. I'm not hurting anything. I'm simply asking you a question. Without ill intentions. With good intentions. And I felt put on the spot, and I felt like my relationship with God is so important to me. And here I am talking to a stranger. He's asking me questions. And I can answer him. But I think I need to be as honest as possible. And I feel like I think I need to be an honest representative of God. I feel like I don't have a job right now, and I'm struggling. And that's hard. But I don't want to just be like, I don't have a job. I'm looking for a job. Because that wasn't where I was at, and that told nothing about my story. It told nothing about what was going on. And jobs have always been so important to me. They've always been such a huge aspect of my life. They just have. Because that's just the way it works, and I'm just more of a job-oriented person. So I've really struggled when I haven't had jobs, or when the job hasn't been good, or when the pay hasn't been good, or whatever. And I answered him with a kind of strange answer. I took a long time to answer him, but I really gave it time, and I thought about it. And I said, what's my job? I said, my job is basically doing whatever God wants me to do, going where God wants me, and doing whatever he wants me to do. And the answer didn't seem to faze him, didn't seem to set him back or anything like that, or confuse him. He just went with it, and continued talking to me. And eventually I found out that he was a missionary, and he was a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm talking to Mormons. But I never really had that feeling. I really never came to that conclusion where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm talking to Mormons or something like that. I never had that feeling like that. Yeah, like that, like right off the bat. Yeah. And I just felt like everything was okay. I honestly felt like, why do I feel like everything's okay? Why do I feel like I'm talking to someone who respects me? Why do I feel like I'm talking to a friend? Why do I feel like I'm talking to an ally? Why do I feel like I'm talking to someone who understands what I've been through? Why do I feel like I'm talking to someone who, as long as I talk to this person, nothing else that's happened in the past, none of the bad things are even going to matter? That's what I felt when I was talking to this guy. And we started having video calls. He's like, you want to have a video call and stuff? And we're talking basically low-key, like humbly, about like what we believe, relationship with God, what we believe in God, etc., etc. I was just like, okay, let's go. And I'm talking to him, and I have a video chat with him, and I was trying to be honest. And this thing starts happening. And it's like, I don't know what this is, and I can't make heads or tails of it, but it's really awesome, and I can feel it, and it's really awesome. And I'm trying to figure out what it is, but I'm struggling to figure out what it is. But it's really awesome. And I'm like, this is something else. This is something else. What is this? And I didn't have the context. I didn't have the knowledge of knowing this is the Spirit of God. This is God telling you everything's okay. This is God telling you everything's going to be okay. And things are more okay than you could comprehend. Things will be more okay than you can comprehend. That's what I was being told by the Spirit without words. And I was just like, bro, this is crazy. I can't comprehend this. This is so much. But not in a bad way. This is so much in a good way. But still, dog, I need to like chill, because I'm like, bro, I need to process. I need to like sit back and process. So I had some video calls with the missionaries, and we talk about things, and they start telling me about their church more and more about what they believed. And some of the things they were telling me about I already knew. Like, we believe in the Book of Mormon, and I was like, yeah, I know that. And so I was starting to get conflicted, because I was like, wait a minute, why do I like these guys so much? And why do I feel so great about this? And then it started coming to the point where I was like, yeah, but what about the fact that they're Mormons? What about that? Well, and I thought, well, I don't really know a lot about Mormons, so maybe I've just been ignorant. But I was like, well, what about the fact that I've always been told that they're wrong, and that they're not really Christians, and that they're not this or they're not that? And it's just confusing. And I was like, so I felt a lot of really great things, but I also felt a little bit of like, what is going on? What is this, Trying to make heads or tails of it. Didn't know what to do. And I kept meeting with them. And then it got to the point where like, all right, Justin, we've done all that we can from our end. And it turned out these missionaries were from like Seattle, Washington. They were from like Washington State, and talking to me from across the country, across the world. And they're like, we've done everything we can. It's time for us to turn you over to your local missionaries. And I was like, my local missionaries? What? Local missionaries? I didn't know I had local missionaries. We have local missionaries? And then I'm thinking like, well, why wouldn't we have local missionaries? Like, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. So we had a video call, the first two missionaries I ever met. And then with Elder Davis and Elder Mott. And these were my local missionaries from Kent Island branch. And I was like, oh, that's the closest church. It's in Kent Island? Okay. Like, so much I couldn't comprehend. There was so much happening that I could not comprehend fast enough. It was happening faster than I could comprehend. It was happening faster than I could process. I was like, okay. And then they started talking about baptism. And they're like, Justin, is this something you want to do? Something that you'd be willing to do? I was like, yes, I'm willing to do it. I want to do it. Yes, I do. I do want to do it. But I still felt a little scared inside, I was kind of like, man, I don't know. I'm kind of scared. And then they're like, then Elder Johnson, the first one I ever talked to, threw down the gauntlet. He's like, okay, Justin, I want to challenge you. I was like, oh, shoot, he's challenging me. I was like, oh, bro, he's calling me out. And I was like, why do I know that this challenge ain't going to be an easy challenge? Why do I know that this is a real challenge? How do I know this is a real challenge? Because, like, when people give me challenges before, I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever, I can do it. It's not even a big deal. I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. Not even a big deal. I can do that. But I'm like, bro, this one has some girth to it. This has got some weight to it. This is a big deal. This is a challenge. I challenge you to get baptized on May 1st. And I was like, bro, May 1st. I was like, dog, that's so soon though. And like, that's not the way I've been seeing my life going. That's not the way I wanted I had my life, I had a forecast of my life And my life was not going that way. My life was going this way. That means I'd have to change and have to start going this way now. And I was like, oh. And then I was like, you know what? In a moment of brilliance that I'm very thankful for, I have been procrastinator most of my life. I have struggled for so long, and I have procrastinated pretty much everything, anything and everything. And now I know that procrastination is kind of an after effect of having enduring trauma or abuse in your childhood. I found that out. But so I don't feel bad about procrastinating or being a procrastinator from time to time. But I was just like, I don't want to get on the same path. I was like, if I really want to get baptized, and I need to get baptized, and this is something I really should do, and I kind of think I should do this. And this is all going on. Like, I'm talking to the missionaries, and I'm having these conversations, and I haven't told anybody about it. I haven't talked to my friends. I haven't talked to the pastor at the church, of course, especially not. I know what he feels. I'm like, I didn't dare talk to anyone in that church about this, because I was like, dude, I already know how they feel. I know how they feel. I know what they believe. They hate this. They don't like this. This is not good. This is the worst thing I could be doing. I'd rather, it would be better if I was selling babies on the black market. You know, this is kind of the feeling I had. Like, that's the way they see this. Oh, you're in the Mormon. You're talking to the Mormon. Don't talk to the Mormons.